Before we begin, subscribe now and join us for incredible history documentaries every week. Imagine living in a world where crossing the Atlantic Ocean took days instead of hours. In the early 18 jibe amount, traveling by ship was the only way to move between Europe and America. Shipping companies competed to build faster, larger, and more luxurious ocean liners than ever before. But one company wanted to create something the world had never seen. That company was the White Star Line. Its vision was simple but ambitious: build the most beautiful, comfortable, and impressive passenger ship in history. The result was the RMS Titanic. Stretching nearly 269 meters, 882 feet, long and weighing over 46,000 tons, the Titanic became one of the largest moving objects ever built by humans at the time. It featured elegant first-class suites, a magnificent grand staircase, luxurious dining rooms, swimming pools, a gym, Turkish baths, and technology considered far ahead of its time. Newspapers around the world praised the Titanic as a masterpiece of engineering. Many people believed it was the safest ship ever built. Some even claimed it was practically unsinkable. As excitement spread across the world, thousands dreamed of sailing on this incredible ship. No one could have imagined that this symbol of human achievement would soon become one of history's greatest tragedies. In the next chapter, we'll discover how this engineering masterpiece was built and why everyone believed it could never sink. How do you build the greatest ship the world has ever seen? The story began in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where thousands of skilled workers gathered to turn an ambitious dream into reality. Construction of the Titanic started in Idolindio at the famous Harland and Wolff shipyard. More than one sen. Workers spent over 2 years building this engineering masterpiece. The ship was designed to be not only enormous, but also one of the safest vessels ever created. It was divided into 16 watertight compartments, designed to keep the ship afloat even if several sections were flooded. This revolutionary design made many people believe the Titanic was practically unsinkable. The ship stretched nearly 269 meters, 882 feet, long and stood as tall as an 11-story building. Inside, everything reflected luxury. First-class passengers enjoyed elegant suites, a breathtaking grand staircase, fine restaurants, a swimming pool, Turkish baths, a gymnasium, and beautifully decorated lounges. Even second and third class passengers traveled in conditions that were considered excellent for the time. The Titanic was powered by massive steam engines, producing more than 700 horsepower, allowing the giant ship to cross the Atlantic with remarkable comfort. After years of hard work, the world's most famous ship was finally ready. Crowds gathered to admire this incredible achievement, believing it represented the future of ocean travel. But despite all the advanced engineering and luxury, one hidden weakness would soon change history forever. In the next chapter, we'll follow the Titanic as it begins its first and only voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. On April 10, 1912, the day had finally arrived. Thousands of people gathered at the port of Southampton, England, to witness the departure of the world's most famous ship. Excitement filled the air as passengers boarded the Titanic, believing they were about to experience the greatest journey ever made across the Atlantic. On board were more than 2,200 passengers and crew from different countries and different walks of life. Some were among the richest people in the world, traveling in luxurious first-class suites. Others were immigrants, carrying little more than hope as they dreamed of starting a new life in America. As the Titanic slowly left the harbor, crowds on the shore waved goodbye, unaware that many of those waving would never see their loved ones again. During the first few days, life on board seemed perfect. Passengers enjoyed delicious meals prepared by world-class chefs, listened to live music, relaxed in elegant lounges, exercised in the gym, and admired the endless beauty of the Atlantic Ocean. Children played on the decks while families took photographs to remember what they believed would be the journey of a lifetime. The crew worked around the clock to keep everything running smoothly, and the weather remained calm. Everything seemed exactly as planned. But beneath the peaceful surface of the Atlantic, danger was waiting. Several nearby ships had already sent wireless warnings about large icebergs floating directly in the Titanic's path. Those warnings reached the ship, but the Titanic continued forward at nearly full speed. No one on board knew that one decision would soon change history forever. In the next chapter, we'll witness the terrifying night when the Titanic met the iceberg that changed the world forever. The night of April 14th, 1912 seemed calm and peaceful. The Atlantic Ocean was unusually still. There were no strong waves, no storms, and almost no wind. But those calm conditions made floating icebergs much harder to see. Throughout the day, several nearby ships had sent wireless warnings about dangerous ice ahead. Some of those messages reached the Titanic's radio room. At Sowell She Dan Sitrafen, two lookouts standing high in the crow's nest suddenly noticed a dark shape. Iceberg, right ahead. On the bridge, First Officer William Murdoch reacted immediately. He ordered the ship to turn and the engines to reverse. But the Titanic was simply too large and moving too fast. Only seconds later, the massive iceberg scraped along the starboard side of the ship. Instead of leaving a huge hole, it ripped open several sections below the waterline. Seawater began pouring into the ship at an unstoppable rate. Many didn't even realize that anything had happened. Others kept playing cards or listening to music. The crew quickly inspected the damage. What they discovered was terrifying. 6 of the ship's watertight compartments were flooding. The Titanic had been designed to stay afloat if 4 compartments filled with water. Chief designer Thomas Andrews carefully examined the damage. Panic slowly began to spread across the Titanic. At first, many passengers refused to believe the ship was really sinking. After all, this was the unsinkable Titanic. The crew tried to remain calm, helping women and children toward the lifeboats. But there was one terrible problem. The Titanic carried lifeboats for only about half the people on board. Many passengers didn't want to leave the warm, brightly lit ship for the freezing dark Atlantic Ocean. Some lifeboats were lowered only half full, while hundreds of people stayed behind, believing they were still safer on the ship. Meanwhile, the icy water continued rising through the lower decks. The ship's musicians kept playing, hoping to calm the frightened passengers. Crew members worked until the very last moment, sending desperate distress signals into the night. Far away, another ship received the messages. But would it arrive in time? As the bow of the Titanic sank deeper into the freezing Atlantic, it became clear that there was no way back. One of the greatest disasters in history had only just begun. In Part 2, you'll witness the Titanic's heartbreaking final moments, the heroic stories of survival, and the shocking discoveries made more than 70 years later. If you don't want to miss Part 2, subscribe now and turn on notifications. The next chapter of this incredible story is coming soon.